I hate this item, and I'm gonna explain why. Heavy duty boots. It's a item created in Gen 8. It's a fairly new item, and if you guys already know the backstory, feel free to skip in the video. That's why I have the timestamps. But I'm just gonna go over the history, real brief history, real quick. Heavy duty boots was introduced in Generation 8, and basically you're not affected by entry hazards on switch-in. So your Charizard, which normally took 50% on the switch-in, will now take 0% on the switch-in. Your pivots, which you normally have to wait 1 or 2 turns to recuperate the health with leftovers, you would just come in, take nothing, and you could swap out, and you'd probably have a net positive trade on that. We all know how important Stealth Rock is in the metagame. We all know how important Spikes is in the metagame. Toxic Spikes nowadays even. So Heavy Duty Boots was a really good item just to mitigate all of this. It's a very important item in mitigating how much residual damage you were taking over an entire game due to the entry hazards. So it was created, and now you don't take any of those entry hazards. And it's weird because it is a very singles orientated item, and not many of the NPCs in Pokemon use hazards. And you would never use this in VGC. You would never use this even in Battle Stadium singles. So this item was specifically made for 6v6 singles, which is just a little odd from Game Freak because knowing their track record of how much they care about 6v6 singles, but I digress. Someone in the Game Freak headquarters must be a Smogon enjoyer. That's what I've come to the conclusion of. But anyway, very good item, awesome stuff. Even if you're a grounded poison type, so Slowking Galar is the main one I can think of, you will still remove Toxic Spikes, which is kind of a big deal. It's kind of a weird interaction because Levitate Pokemon levitating poison types don't remove Toxic Spikes, yet if you're not going to take the you're not going to touch the Toxic Spike, but you still remove them. Kind of weird interaction in my opinion. I digress. That's not the point of this video. So, actually, for more backstory, back in July 16th, 2020, which I believe was about 6 months after Gen 8 OU was around, they actually had a discussion on the state of Heavy Duty Boots, which I thought was really interesting. I'm not going to read it much, because you guys can go check it out for yourselves. I'm putting the link down in the description below, but this isn't a new topic, I guess, a new point of discussion. It's just one that I feel like hasn't been talked enough about recently, because I'm not really seeing anyone talk about this, which is so bizarre, because I really think Heavy Duty Boots is a bigger problem than people are thinking it is. And again, I'm going to explain why. The leftovers. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on. We need to talk about why Boots is a problem in itself. And it's not. It's not a problem in itself. It's a really cool item. It's actually awesome. Because Pokemon like Charizard and Moltres, who were absolute dog water after Gen 4, just because, they're weak to rocks. And it's weird because Volcarona is also very weak to rocks, but it has enough upside that it's still usable. But these Pokemon that were 4 times weak to rocks, suddenly they're not 4 times weak to rocks anymore. Suddenly they're actually usable Pokemon. You don't like it? Well, guess what? Knockoff's the greatest move of all time. You just click that thing, boom, your opponent's crippled again. That's the counterplay. But here's the thing. They figured out, okay, Heavy Duty Boots are good on 4 times weak to rock Pokemon. What if we tried using it on the pivots? Because, like I said earlier, you put it on one of your pivoters who normally, like Blissey, for example. We'll just take Blissey because Blissey has been a big Heavy Duty Boots user now since it's been around. And it's the reason why it's better than Eviolite Chansey, which is super funny because Eviolite Chansey effectively has a higher Phys-Def stat. But anyway, I think it also has a higher Sp-Def stat. You don't care about that. What you care about is why Blissey's holding the Heavy Duty Boots instead of the leftovers. So Blissey had teleport back in Gen 8, right? Say Blissey came in. I'm going to animate this because we're going extra for this. So Blissey comes in, takes 12% from the rocks, and this is assuming that it's coming in as a switch-in, right? It comes in as a switch-in, it takes 12% from the rocks, it recuperates 6% at the end of the turn. Now, Blissey is going to switch out with teleport or whatever, And now it's down 6%. It's down a net 6% from the Stealth Rocks because it only got 6% back from the leftovers. Or hell, say you safely bring in Blissey after one of your Pokemon dies. Now it's down 12%. And if you want to switch it out immediately, you're just down 12%. That's done. Now, if you cut the Blissey in for 2 turns, so you switch Blissey in on a hit and then you soft boiled with it, now you have 2 turns of recovery. That's 12%. That's your 12% back. So now you're even. Plus, if you want to stay in even longer for whatever reason, now you're net positive. But guess what? You're never staying in probably with more than 2 turns with Blissey because guess what? You bring in a physical attacker, boom, Blissey's done. That's how it works. That's how Gen 8 works. And that's how Gen 9 kind of works too. So that never really was happening. You were probably switching Blissey out after no more than 2 turns. So Heavy Duty Boots was better on it. So people realize this. People are like, okay, how do we exploit this? Well, guess what? You put Heavy Duty Boots on your pivot Pokemon. So now they're taking net less damage than if they had the leftovers. Okay, so it's cool. So now your defensive pivots on your stall teams are now wearing Heavy Duty Boots so you can switch around more freely. And now you're more immune to rocks, which is really annoying, but it's probably not the end of the world. Oh no, folks, it gets worse. Now, if it works on your defensive pivots, what about your offensive ones? Now, what if your Scizor, which keeps coming in to click U-turn, what if you don't need any more damage on it, but you just want to make sure it's not taking that 12% chip every turn? And you're usually clicking U-turn, so you don't really want leftovers, right? So now your offensive pivots are also wearing this item, which is like, okay, whatever, your offensive Pokemon. But you know what? We're going to take it a step further. Yeah, that's right. We're taking it even further. And that's where Gen 9 comes in, where we're going to take it even further. Because that's about as far as it got with Gen 8. It was the offensive pivots, the defensive pivots, and the Stealth Rock weak Pokemon. That was the main problem. And here's the thing. Before we go into Gen 9 OU, we're going to look at Gen 8 OU. Here, this is a big thing I wanted to stress. Look at how many Pokemon had spikes in Gen 8 OU. Ferrothorn and Mew. And even in the lower tiers, Skarmory was, well, I guess effectively Diggersby and Scolipede were also UU. So you had 3 UU guys. RU, you had 5. It's technically 6. In U, you had 1 effectively, if you even count that. And in PU, you had 3. ZU, you had quite a few. That's how many users there were with spikes. Now, we're going to transition to the Gen 9 metagame. Remember, still, your defensive pivots, offensive pivots, and your your Stealth Rock weak Pokemon are the only ones holding spikes, right? Or holding Heavy Duty Boots. Good lord. Okay, now let's look at Gen 8. And we're going to talk about these 2 guys in a minute because they're part of the problem. Let's see how many Pokemon learn spikes in Gen 9. Look at that. Look at how many Pokemon this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 Pokemon learn spikes. And guess how many of these Pokemon have a very good chance of using spikes? All but 2 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pokemon with spikes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. Proportionally, especially compared to last gen, it's a lot. Even Garchomp has spikes too, and Garchomp isn't officially OU, but I still feel like it does have a pretty good niche. Now, UU, it's a little less problematic. RU, it's a little less. NU, it's a little less. PU, it's a little less. Well, it's a little more actually in the lower tiers than it was last gen. But anyway, 6 OU guys. And yes, by the way, because I didn't make this clear, we are mostly talking about OU when it comes to the Heavy Duty Boots. That's my main tier. That's my main gripe with them. So that's why we're talking about it. A lot more Pokemon no spikes. A lot more. This coupled with the fact that Mr. Samurott, Samurott Hidzuai came in with this epic move called Ceaseless Edge. Sets a layer of spikes on the opposing side. Plus its sharpness boosted. It's effectively a 97.5 base power move that sets a layer of spikes. That is also stab boosted. That can be further boosted by Terra, but I mean, that's kind of every move, so I'm not even going to count that. Coming off of a 108 attack stat. Folks, it's pretty dang good, except for the fact that it's 90% accurate. It's pretty dang good. Also coupled with the fact that it's also a water type, so the Great Tusk, which is the main hazard removal on a lot of teams, it can't switch into Razor Shell or Aqua Cutter, so you risk losing your Great Tusk if you switch in the Great Tusk immediately. Great Tusk usually isn't running close combat anymore, so it can't even fight back against Samurott. Here, let me zoom in a little bit more for you folks. So yeah, not great. Not good situation. So what do we as players do? How do we adapt to this spikes laden plus stealth rock laden plus the fact that Golden Go is a Pokemon that exists with good as gold to block him status moves, plus the fact that Defog is on like a whole 10 Pokemon this generation for God knows why. I don't know. There's a lot of Pokemon in ZU actually that do learn it. No. Who cares though? Effectively, there's 4 OU Pokemon. Yes, I see these 4. Well, I actually never see Mandibuzz in OU. Scizor's never running it though. Conkeldurr, Kleavor. I mean, come on, guys. Why would these guys ever run Defog? Why the hell does Scizor even get Defog? I don't even know. But coupled with the fact that no one learns Defog, coupled with the fact that even if they did, Golden Go is blocking that shit. And Golden Go is also blocking the Rapid Spin and the Mortal Spin. So good luck getting hazards. Big middle finger to the entire OU tier with this guy. Plus the fact that Samurott learns a move that is very strong that also sets up hazards. Plus the fact that a ton of Pokemon learn spikes in Gen A OU. What do? Oh yeah. We need to put boots on everything. Even the stealth rock resistance guys, we need boots on. So that would be the main one I'm talking about, Slowking Galar. Slowking Galar, of course. This guy always runs heavy duty boots this gen, which is weird because it's a poison type. So it very effectively resists rocks. In fact, you would almost always rather have leftovers on this thing. I don't care that chilly reception switches you out, but if you come in on rocks and you have leftovers, you're effectively healing as much as the Stealth Rocks is doing to you, plus whatever else, however many other turns you stay in, right? But wrong, because spikes are a thing, and spikes are neutral against Slowking. So what does Slowking does? It puts on the heavy duty boots. So now your Stealth Rock resilient pivots are even wearing the boots. Oh, folks, it gets so much worse. Great Tusk. This guy is 4 times resistance to Stealth Rock. Guess what one of its main items is? Yeah, you fucking guessed it. It's heavy. Whoa, hey, it's heavy duty boots. A 4 times resistant Pokemon to Stealth Rock is wearing the heavy duty boots. Oh, folks, I forgot to mention another thing. So, even though this guy's 4 times resistant to the rocks too, I forgot to mention one more guy, Glivora. How can I forget about Glivora? With this stupid ability called Toxic Debris, that if you get hit by a physical attack, Toxic Spikes are set on the opposing side. Coupled with the fact that this guy learns the Stealth Rock, and coupled with the fact that this guy learns the Spikes, so you want to get rid of the hazards immediately, but guess what? You can't bring in Slowking, because, well, I guess you can bring in Slowking, right? Because Slowking's also wearing heavy duty boots, so it doesn't matter. And then you can pivot out to the Great Tusk. Oh, Great Tusk is in poison, but guess what? You can't go Great Tusk immediately unless you're wearing the heavy duty boots, because guess what? It's gonna be poison. Nah, isn't that funny? And then these things mostly carry a focus sash, which means you're effectively getting badly poisoned Toxic Spike up, because you're getting 2 layers of them up. Unless you're smart and run the Talkie and Cutter guy, which shout out to my boy Iron Crown. That boy is doing really well in OU right now compared to what it was just like 2 months ago. So shout out to my boy Iron Crown. But yeah, anyway, Glimmora also doesn't help with this problem, right? Oh my gosh. So you have this incredibly hazard-laden metagame, which I totally understand why you'd want to run heavy-duty boots in this shit. I get it. I understand it. It doesn't make it any more frustrating. And why? Why do I say that? Every metagame up until now, setting Stealth Rocks is an integral part of the game. Actually, hold on. Before I go into this rant, I want to show you guys how many Pokemon run heavy-duty boots this generation, especially compared to previous generations. So, heavy-duty boots in Scarlet and Violet. I clicked Control F OU. 73 results. Obviously, some of those are because of like soundproof and because some Pokemon are ground types, and some people are named Armarouge. So, you know, shows up for a lot of people. But of the 41 OU Pokemon right now, 31 of them have a recommended set with heavy-duty boots. Last generation, it was 23 of 35. So it's gone up about 10%. It's gone from like 65% to 75% of Pokemon recommended to have an heavy-duty booty sets. Heavy-duty booty. Wow. Heavy-duty. Wait. Yeah, heavy-duty boot set. Yeah, oh my gosh. Wow, words are hard. If you want a comparison, Leftovers is at 29 to 41. And I would... And that's like crazy to me, because like Leftovers has been in this game for so long. And yeah, I would consider Leftovers like the more like prominent item and it's been around for so long, and you know, no one would ever touch that. And I'll get into the psychology of why that is in a second. But just to show you guys how messed up this is, Golden Go, right? Great Pokemon, OU. This guy's normally running a balloon to avoid the ground type moves and avoid the spikes, or it's running yeah, I mean, that's actually the main set right now. It's mostly running air balloon. What is this? What is this? A steel ghost type who is immune to toxic spikes, resists rocks, is running heavy duty boots when air balloon is its next used item on the main set that is on the Smogon forums. What are we doing, folks? This is an epidemic. We're just slapping boots on everything. And now, let me get into the psychology of why this matters, right? What are my other tabs even? Leftovers, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, this is a proof that it's 41. There's 41 Pokemon in OU right now. That's probably going to change, but yeah, Weavile made the cut, so 41. 41 and 31, 41. Sorry for the flashbang for anyone watching this at night. Here's the problem. Stealth Rock hazard setting has been an integral part of Pokemon. What, since Gen 2? Was Spikes in Gen 2? I think Spikes was in Gen 2, but especially since Stealth Rock came out in Gen 4. It's been an integral part of the game. It is important to set up your rocks. You have to set up your rocks. So, now you're hard-coding people into, okay, if every one of my opponent's Pokemon is running boots, what is the point of setting up rocks? So you're totally switching up the entire flow in psychology of how your brain, how you're supposed to play Pokemon, because normally you get up the boots, right? You get up the Stealth Rock because it's just that freaking important. And now you're like, do I really need to get the Stealth Rock? Is it really even worth it? And folks, here's another thing, by the way. Even with Spikes right now, because there's so many Pokemon with heavy duty boots, it might not even be worth clicking Ceaseless Edge. Because here's the funny part. If your opponent has a Rocky Helmet, the damage you take from hitting a guy with a Rocky Helmet might be more than that one single spike will do in the entire game, because all your Pokemon are either flying off the ground or they have heavy duty boots. So it doesn't even matter. It's hilarious. It's awesome. It's hilarious. It's awful. And so you're trying to tell players that have known hazards to be such an important part of the metagame that, okay, hazards no longer matter because everyone's running heavy duty boots. So who cares? But like, at the same time, what if none of your opponent's Pokemon are running heavy duty boots? And that's a little silly. Your opponent's never going to run 0 Pokemon with heavy duty boots. That'd be ridiculous. Your opponent probably has at least 1 heavy duty boots guy. So something's probably going to take that Stealth Rock chip, but is that even worth it? Is it even worth sacrificing a turn? You know, the opportunity cost to set up those rocks on the off chance that you get taunted, off the off chance that you catch a stray Ice Beam from Deoxys S on your Lando? Is it even worth it? I don't know. That's up to you to decide, really. But if your opponent's running, you just don't know, because you don't know if your opponent's running heavy duty boots on everything or not, right? Or if they're running leftovers on everything. So, and yeah, it's like, what are we doing? Why would I do that? Why would I take that risk? But here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. Here's my realization. Things would be very bad without heavy duty boots in this metagame. Things would be very terrible. I'm just going to say right off the rip, Golden Go, you're gone from OU, buddy. If heavy duty boots got any semblance of a nerf, Goldango is gone. Why? Because it is that effective of a hazard blocker. And if heavy duty boots was nerfed by Smogon, not by Game Freak. Game Freak's probably not touching these at this point. They're not going to. It's probably going to be messed with. It's probably going to be a Smogon side ban of some sort if action were to be taken about it, which will be the next part of my video. The next part of this video is talking about possible solutions. But if heavy duty boots were somehow nerfed, reworked, banned even, Goldango's gone. All your Rapid Spin guys are blocked by this thing. Great Tusk, Iron Shreds, Excadrill, Torkoal. Goldango needs to be gone. Secondly, because all your default guys are going to get blocked by it. So Goldango has to be gone. the metagame, I don't even know if it would get more defensive or more offensive, to be honest. Because yeah, now you can effectively get rid of hazards, but also hazards would be so much more important that if you kept switching out, your guys would take so much residual damage that games would need to be concluded much quicker. So you could probably look to previous generations like Gen 7. Gen 7 would, and Gen 6 would probably be what you need to look for if you wanted an indication of how heavy duty boots gone would impact it. I honestly don't have a lot of information on those two gens, but that's probably where you need to look for if you were to find an example of what it would look like. But yeah, Golden Go would probably have to be banned like right off the rip. That's what happened in what's the metagame called? Gen 9 Nat Decks. Yeah, Gen 9 Nat Decks, Golden Go was banned because it was just so disruptive to the normal flow of the game of previous metagames. So it was so disruptive, they just decided to get rid of it. That was my understanding, at least. And I completely understand that, honestly. But yeah, Golden Go would have to be gone if heavy duty boots was to receive some kind of nerf or ban of some sort, or complex ban. But here's the thing, I really do wonder if it is just a necessary evil, though, because of Golden Go's existence, because of Defog's very limited, very limited distribution, because of Spike's absurd distribution. Now, Stealth Rock's always has had an absurd distribution. I mean, look at this. But, you know, Stealth Rock that's inevitable, right? That's just Stealth Rock. And, again, Stealth Rock is just a normal part of 6v6 singles, more so than Spikes at this point in time, I would say. So, it might just be a necessary evil. Because of Samurott, his UI too. And because of Glamora. It might just be a necessary evil that we have to endure. And I'm not sure how the metagame would adjust if heavy duty boots was to receive some kind of complex ban. So then now, this is where I'm coming up with my solutions. Again, I think I've already been talking about it, actually. But say you did a complex ban, right, on heavy duty boots. Say only one Pokemon could hold it. And you might be like, oh, well, Mr. 502, that's very anti-freedom. You're some communist swine. Look, if I'm a communist swine, first of all, just shoot me. Second of all, well, we're not getting political here on the Mr. 502 channel. Relax. All right. It's just a joke, folks. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. But I get on these stupid tangents. I apologize. I get unfocused. I apologize. We're going to get back focused on the real enemy, heavy duty boots, which I hope all communists and capitalists can come together to hate heavy duty boots, because they should be hated. What's the solution? Now, yeah, if you ban them, if you do some kind of complex ban so that only one user can wear them, which, by the way, it's weird that 9 Claws hasn't been created, but the reason that was never created is because Leftovers was like the only item in like Gen 2, and President has just set that so that it's never really gone set. But if it were to get set, I don't know. I think actually a complex ban of only one Pokemon having it would make the most sense to me. Because I think my major problem with it is that every Pokemon has heavy duty boots, and it makes getting up hazards just feel so, what's the word for, like, not unimportant, but it just feels bad setting hazards these days, because so many Pokemon have the heavy duty boots that it just feels awful, because you take the time to set them up, which is supposed to be a pretty riskless. Well, it's not always riskless, because again, opportunity costs and whatnot, and the chance of losing your Pokemon to set them up, because they are very important. But you make the play, say, okay, I'm going to make this investment. And in previous metagames, you'd get that return on investment because your opponent would either be forced to go to get rid of those hazards, or your opponent would just have to deal with them. Either way, you're getting your investment back. but there's no real investment if all your opponent has heavy duty boots. Now you might say, oh well, if they didn't have the heavy duty boots and they'd have the leftovers, and then that would also feel bad. Or maybe you're thinking, oh well, if Stealth Rock wasn't such an important mechanic of the Gen 9 OU metagame, then no one would be running boots, and then your problem, then Stealth Rock's OP again. No, Stealth Rock was never OP, but yeah, it's heavy duty boots wearing is a cause, is an effect, not a causation, right? I don't know though. It just feels bad right now setting up rocks, and it's stupid and it's dumb that you don't get that return on investment for making the play to get up your hazards. And that's dumb in my opinion. I've said dumb, stupid so many times, but I feel like it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And pivoting is such an integral part of, especially this metagame, because it is, well, I guess it is pretty fast paced, so I guess swapping out isn't super prominent. It's not like drawn out 50, 100 turn games like last gen. But I don't know. I don't know, folks. Maybe you guys have a better solution. But I don't know. I wouldn't be against a complex ban. The only problem with the complex ban is, of course, is Small God doesn't like making complex bans because they're confusing to players. The casuals have a harder time understanding them, or the people who only play like once a month don't keep up with them. And so it's just confusing, and again, it's complex. It's called complex for a reason, because it's complex. It's complex as in it's deriving from the norm, but it's also complex because it's complex to the casuals and the lower time players. So yeah, I don't know. That would probably be my solution though. I think an alright ban is bad though, because I do think heavy duty boots at its core, which is for the Charizard. It's for the Charizard, guys. This is who heavy duty boots is for at its core. This is who the heavy duty boots were made for. This is why heavy duty boots is around, because of Pokemon like Charizard. At its core, I think it's a good thing. I think Game Freak had a good reason for this, and again, it's because of the Charizard and the Volcaronas and the Moltres. Moltres is now OU, and it's actually really freaking good, and it wouldn't be if heavy duty boots wasn't a thing. That at its core is why heavy duty boots was made a thing. So I don't want it to be fully banned. I think the right play is a complex ban of only one Pokemon per team having it, so that way you're really only putting it on the one Pokemon who needs it, aka the Charizard of your team. And it's not just a bunch of boot spam in this metagame where getting up hazards just feels so awful, because there's no point to it even anymore, because all the opponent Pokemon have heavy duty boots anyway, so they're just getting more and more momentum as you helplessly set up spikes and spikes and spikes. I think that's the one thing I would want. So it's more thought through on who heavy duty boots is put on. I even argue these days that heavy duty boots is more brain dead than leftovers. I really do believe that, because leftovers, you have to take the risk of staying in X amount of turns to recuperate the damage from hazards, whereas heavy duty boots, it's whatever, you just bring your Pokemon in as much as you want. So I think that's my main thing. Heavy duty boots at its core is a good item, and it should be used sparingly on the Charizards of the metagames. And I really hate what it has become for this generation, which is just an annoying spammable item, which everyone holds, and it makes hazard setting feel like shit. So that's my take. That's my take on the whole thing. Heavy duty boots is OP. Could really use the rework, aka a smoke on side rework, not a Game Freak side rework. I want to make that distinction very clear. I don't think nerfing heavy duty boots so they only apply once per game, for example, is the right play. That's not what I'm asking for. But yeah, that's my takeaway. That's my takeaway. I want to rant about this because I'm so sick of fighting teams that are just mono heavy duty boots. It's really annoying. It really feels bad. So that's my rant on heavy duty boots. that's all I got for you folks. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys have better solutions? If you guys have different solutions, if you guys have, what are your takes on heavy duty boots this generation right now? What if you think any action at all is necessary? I don't know. There's probably a lot of people who disagree with me heavily on this, which is fine. You know, that's just how it is. A lot of people would probably say, oh, well, just use knockoff on more of your Pokemon, but it really isn't that simple, folks. And I hope y'all know that. I wish it was that simple, but it really isn't, in my opinion, at least. And you know, if you have a different opinion, that's totally cool. Just leave it in the comments, so that way it helps in the algorithm. Okay, anyway. That's all I got. Thank you all for watching very much. I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Go play some disc golf. I'm going bowling tonight too. Go get some physical activity. Go touch grass for the love of God. And if you do go touch grass, take a shower afterwards too. Shout out to all the people taking a shower today. Love y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.